If you have a PSVR 1 and haven't got the adapter to use it on PS5, your time may be running out. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and somehow I'm still sick, and also I'm back to talk about the gaming news. And some people like to game in a different reality, a virtual one. And if said people had a PS4, they may have partaken in playing games on a PlayStation VR headset. And the thing with that headset was it used the camera for tracking, which plugged into a proprietary port on the back of the PS4. So if you want to use the PSVR 1 with a PS5, you need an adapter to plug the camera in because the PS5 doesn't include that proprietary port. And up until now, you could just submit a request to Sony and they will send you the adapter for free. I did this back when I got my original PS5 and I still had my PSVR 1, and it was a pretty easy process. Well, Sony has announced that they are discontinuing the adapter, so Sony put a message on their support page saying that the adapter will be discontinued as of November 26th or until supplies last. For now, you can still get one, but you'll need a serial number from a PSVR to be able to submit a claim to Sony to get one. And basically, that means that they'll probably get scalped for way too much money on eBay in the future unless someone can make a third-party adapter that would work with the PS5. I mean, of course, the headset can still be played on a PS4 without an adapter, but it'd be annoying to keep another console around just for a few VR games. There is the PSVR 2 for PS5, but those games are not forward compatible with PSVR 2, aside from the ones that have already been ported to that headset. So yeah, if you have a PS5 and a PSVR 1, I would request the adapter immediately if you haven't done so already. But while Sony is discontinuing the PSVR adapter, Nintendo is discontinuing people's livelihoods. So Nintendo, aside from teasing their new console, which feels like it's never coming out, is also constantly in court. So last week we talked about Nintendo's lawsuit with Pocket Pair, the creators of Power World, but they also have a couple of lawsuits against people who they feel like have violated their IP rights. One of these cases recently ended. It was against a user that went by Archbox and was a Reddit moderator for r/Switch Pirates, which had over 190,000 members. Nintendo was able to use Reddit to find his email and find Nintendo accounts that he had registered in which he did 2 repair orders for, so they were able to find his address in Surprise, Arizona, and sent him a cease and desist. Which begs the question, how much time does Nintendo actually have? This is why we ain't got the Switch 2 yet, because y'all up here playing Detective Pikachu and going to people's houses and busting their door down. Meanwhile, I just want to play some games on the Switch 2. Anyway, this guy was running 2 shops for pirated Switch games, and his post on Reddit showed him directing people to the shops and offering technical help. He did shut the shops down when he received the cease and desist, but Nintendo still took him to court and he did not appear for the hearing to defend himself, so he lost by default. There hasn't been a judgment made in the case yet, but I'm sure it'll be a lot since he was selling pirated games. I mean, every game guru knows it's a bad idea to sell pirated Switch games, and every game guru just happens to be the channel name of the other person Nintendo is suing, but not for selling pirated games, but for streaming them. So on Wednesday, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Jesse Keegan, aka Every Game Guru, for at least 10 counts of streaming Nintendo games before their release. According to the Polygon article, these games include Mario and Luigi Brothership, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and Super Mario Party Jamboree. They were all streamed a week or 2 before their release. Nintendo also claims that he gave instructions on how to find pirated versions of the games, and of course Nintendo also did the copyright strikes on all of his streams, and so basically every platform he was on, his accounts have been terminated. But Polygon was still able to find some active accounts under his handle, which this lines up to the response that Keegan said to the Nintendo lawsuit, which is that he has thousands of burner accounts and he could do this all day, which isn't the smartest thing to say. Anyway, Nintendo is suing for $150,000 for each violation, which ends up being millions of dollars, and they also want damages, so if he loses a lawsuit, it's not good for him. But Nintendo isn't the only one who'll be making some court visits soon, as Ubisoft is now being sued. So the game, The Crew, was shut down back in March, and Ubisoft took the servers offline, making the game completely unplayable, including the single player. About a month ago, I talked about California's new law, which will be effective January 1st, where digital games have to be labeled stating that basically you're purchasing a game license, but not an actual game. And one of these things cited by the person who proposed this law was the shutdown of The Crew. And aside from the bad PR of that whole thing, Ubisoft now has a class action lawsuit against them for the shutdown of the game. This was filed on November 4th by Matthew Cassell and Alan Liu, with the main argument being that they thought they were buying a game and not a limited license to use the game. They use an analogy akin to buying a pinball machine and then one day the manufacturer shows up and basically guts the machine. Obviously, we don't know how this will play out, if they'll make it to court or if they'll settle, and obviously if they win, the damages awarded to the affected people will probably be low. But with all the negative attention this shutdown has received, hopefully companies will take game preservation more seriously in the future. And you know what else may be in the future? An Xbox handheld. And that's what we're talking about today in our final story. So we've had rumors for a while now that Microsoft may be working on a handheld. Other than that, there's really no other details about it. We don't know if it would be closer to like a Logitech G Cloud and be streaming only, or if it'd be something like a Steam Deck and play games locally. Well, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, did an interview with Bloomberg recently, and of course the topic of doing an Xbox handheld came up again. So when he was asked about the handheld, he was quoted as saying the following: "The expectation is that we would do something. Long term, I love us building devices, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning and what's happening now." Bloomberg went on to say that basically if they're working on a handheld, which most sources believe they are, that any retail device will be a few years away, so we probably wouldn't see anything until at least 2027. Now, the last rumor we talked about was that they may do a handheld next generation instead of doing an Xbox Series S. So they would have their lower end Xbox that would be a handheld, and then they would have their higher end console that would be their Series X replacement. So if we're looking at something being revealed in 2027 or later, it could very much be revealed as part of their next generation lineup. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think that Microsoft is actually working on a handheld? It seems like Phil Spencer was kind of teasing it, but it could never come to fruition. But again, let me know what you think down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing to be notified when I drop the video or live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.